the man of this hour,
Uh-oh.
the one, the only, Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Ron, welcome to Totally Driven Radio.
What is up, man? How are you? How you guys doing?
Good, good. I got to start this off and say, and there's so much to talk to you about, and I said that to you in an email this morning, but when you first hooked up with Guns N' Roses, I'm one of them guys that was like very anti the whole new Guns N' Roses. And when you came aboard, I was like, oh, man, who's this guy? I knew nothing about you. I'm like, here's another guy with a gimmick name. You know, it was Slash and Buckethead, and now Bumblefoot. And then
I mean, how much
saw
worse could
you...
it get? Name-wise, how much worse could it get?
Yeah, I was like, what is a Bumblefoot? And then I saw you, like, on that metal show, like, early on. I think you were, like, sitting in the crowd or something, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was when Lito was in the crowd. It was the first episode. And I was hanging out, and yeah.
And your interview there just turned my whole opinion about you. I was like, you know what, he seems like a pretty cool dude. He seems pretty nice. And from there, I was like, I opened up to you. But this, you know, the past summer, seeing you perform with Tony Harnell twice. I mean, I could just picture like hanging out with you, like you were somebody in high school. Like we would have hung out. Like when we talked a couple weeks ago, I had the Firebird shirt on, and right away you're like, oh, I miss my old Camaro and Bondo in it and stuff like that. It's not like that no more.
Yep, the good old 80s, and hands covered in Bondo and sanding it down and priming it and all that fun stuff, yes.
All the fun stuff of the old days in the muscle cars.
Oh, yeah.
So, I had to ask, why Bumblefoot? Like, out of any nickname that would end up happening, which, again, and here's something I find out as I research it, like, you were actually, like, the band was called Bumblefoot, and then it just became your name.
Yeah, it started off over 20 years ago. My wife, she was in veterinary school. I was with her while she was studying, holding the book open, and one of the diseases was called Bumblefoot, ulcerative pododermatitis. It was something that turkeys get, and one of the ways you treat it is you rub hemorrhoid cream on their foot. And the whole thing was just so... Can I curse?
Oh, yeah.
It was so fucking dumb. And I was like, what the hell, man? And I immediately just started writing this song about a superhero, you know, that's like half bee, half foot, flying overhead, just... And from there, when I had my first record deal, it was on Shrapnel Records. It was the mid-'90s, and the first album, they wanted an instrumental guitar album. I was like, all right. And how's about we call it The Adventures of Bumblefoot? We'll have that little character I pictured flying overhead, and every song I named after a different animal disease. And after I was out of that deal and I was starting my band up, and the band was pretty quirky. It was kind of like System of a Down before System of a Down. And it was very like Primus, Chili Peppers, Frank Zappa, Faith No More, that kind of vibe. So
right.
The name fit. I was like, you know, let's call the band Bumblefoot. And the thing is, over the years of having a band or just putting out music from something called Bumblefoot, where I'm singing, I'm playing lead, writing, I was pretty much doing everything. It started being viewed more like a nickname. People would say, oh, yeah, Bumblefoot, that's him doing that. So it sort of just became more like a nickname. So I was like, all right, yeah, I'm Bumblefoot.
Yeah, you know, and as I, like, you know, through the lovely world of Google, as you're Googling Bumblefoot, you start to see, like, the pictures of these diseased feet,
Oh,
too.
yeah, you see these just like, yeah, these mangled chicken feet and what the hell?
Right. And
yeah.
here I thought it was like maybe that like you were clumsy and you like tripped over your feet. That was my original thinking years ago. Is all right, maybe he's a clumsy guy and he bumbles over his own feet. That's where I thought it came from.
Sometimes, yeah. It's yeah. Now here's the thing though. It's like I feel kind of bad now because you know this all started before Google, before there were really like search engines. Before that was a big part of our life, and now thinking I'm going to be doing something cute. It's like, oh, I'll just call myself Bumblefoot. Right now, there's probably a world of pissed-off veterinarians that every time they want to do some research and they have to see my face pop up everywhere for like the first 20 things and sift through all that crap to find out the information that they need.
That's funny. I never thought of it that way. How about that?
Yeah.
They almost got to change the name of the disease now.
They do. To what? I don't know, but
I can see the
Google
veterinarians having a big protest. They want to take the name back.
Yeah, like at a veterinarian convention, they're going to have to sit down and have a discussion on what they're going to change the name from Bumblefoot to now.
It's going to be an intervention.
Or even better, they're protesting outside of one of your concerts, little picket signs.
They start throwing like little diseased feet at me. Like, how do you like those bumble feet?
Oh, that's so wrong. So, going through all this research and finding out about you, you had like a real interesting childhood.
Did I? It was pretty normal. It was just as fucked up as anybody else's.
But you really put it out there like a real fucked up childhood, though. Like, I mean, we're about the same age, so you had the natural influence of Kiss growing up, and Kiss got you started playing music. It seems like, and you and your brother were playing and putting bands together. But by the time you were like 13, you were playing clubs.
Mhm. I had a little puberty mustache, so they didn't ID me. It wasn't the age. Nobody ID'd anybody. You could be 13 years old if you had the puberty mustache. It's like, yeah, come on in.
Dude, 13 years old, like I was just starting to pick back up the guitar, and you're already playing clubs, and I'm thinking to myself, I was like, did your parents like drive you to the club and drop you off and say, all right, well, have a fun night? Really?
Mhm. Yeah.
Wow. So they were like totally supportive of the whole situation.
They were supportive as they could be. Yeah. I think they were just waiting for me to grow out of it.
Yeah.
So, there's more things that a kid can do than to go and play music.
That's true. I mean, like, where you were a true musician and you studied, playing guitar, and from early on, like, I was one of them guys that picked up the guitar, but I was more worried about, like, how high can I tease my hair, and, what color Chuck Converse can I mix match today, and what shade of nail polish should I put on? Like, I was more focused on that.
Where were you from? Where'd you grow up?
You know where the Tower Theater is?
Tower Theater. Where's
outside of Philadelphia, Upper Darby, PA.
Okay. All right, gotcha.
I grew up 2 blocks from the Tower Theater.
You're from Philly. See,
outside of Philly.
That doesn't seem like the teasing hair and nail polish, and that was definitely more West Coast than East. That's why I was wondering, because I know you're an East Coast dude.
Yeah, I was a total freakazoid in my school. Like, people didn't know what was going on, and my mom was petrified.
Did you wear spandex?
You know what? I was always like a heavy fat guy, so I never fully fledged over to the spandex because I would have looked ridiculous.
So you were a fat dude in makeup?
We were going to put a band together. Wow. I was telling somebody this story a few weeks ago on the show. Me and a bunch of my friends, we were all fat guys, and we were going to do a band, the Fat Bastards in Spandex.
That's killer. That's great.
But it just never happened.
Well, it's never too late. You can get a couple of heavy dudes.
One of the guys, he became a quitter, and he went and got the lap band surgery, and now he's like 200 pounds, the prick. Yeah. So, but another funny thing as I'm reading, you were also like, and this is something else I had back in high school, like to make money, you were like one of them guys painting the back of the denim jackets.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's too funny.
Iron Maiden Killers. Like half of the stuff I did ended up being everyone wanted Killers on the back of their jacket. Killers, Number of the Beast. That's one
funny.
One girl wanted Go-Go's. I painted, what was the name of that album? With We Got the Beat and Our Lips Are Sealed and all that stuff. I forget what it was called, but they all had like face masks, like mud masks on and towels on that.
Right.
Yeah, I had to paint that on one girl's jacket.
That is too funny. See, now that was something I thought that was just going on around here, but I guess that was all over the place. People were getting that done.
Oh yeah.
That's funny. And here's another similarity too that I cracked up. You now, was it your first electric guitar? Was it an Ibanez Roadster?
That's one of them. Yeah. You had one
too?
That
was my first good guitar. Was a black Ibanez Roadster 2 Strat.
That's like exactly what I had. That's the one that became the Swiss cheese guitar.
That's too funny. That is too funny. Wow. So, 16, you drop out of high school.
Yeah, I had such bad anxiety that I just couldn't function.
Now, the weird thing is, like, you were, like, I guess, like, in the rocker style, the rocker clique of school, where most, like, I know where, with me, I was too busy reading, like, my Circus and Hip Parader magazine and failing out of school, but you were the exact opposite. Like, you were getting good grades and people didn't believe you.
I was getting good grades, it was like in the 90s in every class and everything. And then I got my first girlfriend, and every day walking to school, 2 blocks before we would get to school, she would just freak out and start crying and start like kicking someone's fence. And I'd be like, "What are you doing? What's going on? What is it?" And she would start just talking about her dad being mean or something, and then like, "Well, come on, let's get to class and let's get to school." And then the late bell would ring. I was like, shit, now we're late. I was like, then she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna get in trouble for being late. Let's just cut out." So it ends up like cutting out every day and just doing bad things in my backyard on a lawn chair all day. And and I went from having an average in the 90s to the 40s and getting left back. But it was also because, it wasn't just that. I mean, and I'm responsible for any choices I made. But I definitely resented the hell out of her.
I'm sure you did.
But you know what? It wasn't just that. It was also just the whole dynamic of high school I didn't vibe with. I do something where there was a little more respect, and you ain't gonna find that in high school. Where teachers look at the kids like like a bunch of shitheads.
Yeah.
And they are. And I was. And and kids that just sort of lump each other into categories, and I wasn't into that. I wasn't into being part of a clique or anything. I was, people are cool, they're cool, and it doesn't matter anything. And it was just kind of weird how people would segregate based on so many things, and just the whole thing made no sense to me. It was too weird.
Yeah,
so I wasn't really digging high school.
I mean, it's weird now. Like, I guess I look back at high school now, like, I was totally wrapped up in the whole scene of, like, the whole cliques and all. Like, I was with my clique of the, the wannabe rockers and everything. And in high school, it just felt like, I remember having the argument with, like, my mother or, like, aunts and all, because I was doing so bad in school. I was hanging around with these guys, and, we was all just worried about playing, in bands after school and getting together and jamming, and, I'm going to be a rock star, I'm going to do this. And they were always like, these people, they're a bad influence on you, and you're not going to know them later on in life. It's like, yeah, screw you, you don't know what you're talking about. And, like, I look back at that now, and I'm like, I was never taught such a more correct thing in life than that.
High school is probably the worst time in a person's life. And if you ever meet someone that says, high school is the best time in my life, I don't want their life. If that was the best time, something ain't good. Unless they just
really
happen to have the most
here.
amazing time in the world. But honestly, like, I don't know, man. If I could have skipped everything and just jumped to my 30s, I would have been a hell of a lot happier.
Now, in the 80s, in the peak of, like, the metal era and all that, like, were you all influenced by what was going on in the music scene by that? Or, I mean, you were already playing.
Sure.
And so who
I
were,
remember
like,
when I remember when Queensryche's EP just came out, and I remember the big thing, back to Maiden when they got a new singer. It's like Paul Di'Anno's gone, no.
Right.
And you hear Number of the Beast for the first time. You hear his high scream when the band kicks in. It's like, yeah.
And
I remember all of that. I
naturally,
remember every new Ramones album coming out. I would go to this place called Rock and Roll Heaven in Jersey, where I would get all these imports, and it was run by this really nice couple, John and Marcia, who ended up starting a record label. Their names were John and Marcia Zazula. And, yep. And they started co-writing songs with Anthrax, and, yeah. And they were the ones that would say, hey, check this out, try this album. And they, they gave me Anvil Metal on Metal when it came out. I was like, yeah. And Angel Witch and what else? And all these Australian imports of AC/DC and all the picture discs of Maiden and then like the more obscure albums from Priest, like Hero Hero and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it was so I don't know. Back then it was so cool.
It was communal. It was very communal.
Yeah, it's not like that today. Why?
Maybe it is, and we're just not part of it. I don't know. Maybe it's us that changed.
Yeah.
Maybe we changed, and we think the world did.
Maybe just because we got older. I don't know. That I guess I think that a lot too. Maybe we just got older, and the people of our generation don't have like the dedication or support of like the music scene back then, like we all did, or like today. It just doesn't seem like that at all.
You know, it is. The internet changed everything. It did. I'm going to sound like an old man now. That darn interwebs, it changed everything. And because back then, it was very personal. You go into a music store and people are recommending stuff, and you're just browsing the covers, and it was very face to face. Everything. If you wanted to see a live band, I mean, hell, we didn't even have VCRs yet, so you had to go to a club. So everything was very personal, and it was more alive.
Yeah. Now today we're just
guys.
Exactly. There you go, Edith. Yeah. Now everybody just hops on iTunes or YouTube and watches what happened in the club from the night before, or downloads the songs, and that's it.
But the good thing about that is the convenience of it is that you can get so much more stuff so easily, but you have to do a lot more homework to really find things.
Now,
but I mean, now it's like, think about, like, the only way you got information about a band was if they were interviewed on some, Friday night show where bands are playing live and stuff like that.
Right.
Don Kirshner's rock concert presents.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, you go online and you could read a million interviews. You can, video blogs, and you just go to the website and you could find out everything that you ever want to know about a band. So that's pretty cool. That's something that, that I wish there was back then.
Do you think it's, I guess, say, easier nowadays with the whole do-it-yourself thing? Do you like that style better, or where it was? Yeah.
The fact that you don't need a record label is the best thing
right.
in the world. I dreamed about that for decades.
Really?
Oh yeah. I was always very big on doing it yourself and being your own label and being your own everything and having control and ownership over your music.
Yeah, I mean, it's a totally different world. Like, back in the 80s, the dream was to get signed. And, I guess being young and not knowing that it was actually a business.
Yeah.
We were just looking at, I know it myself, just looking at it as what you would see in on TV or in the magazines, and not realizing the whole business aspect of it, where how much money did them guys lose, even though they were selling millions and millions of records that everybody else was taking from them.
Sure. But it's like that with anything. From what I remember, I don't remember who it was, but someone won a boxing match for $1 million, and by the time everyone took their cut, he had $13,000 in his pocket.
Wow.
From it.
Wow.
I mean, that's just, yeah.
That's depressing.
Yeah.
That's actually a famous story about Muhammad Ali, that he did that big fight in Manila, and that was exactly what you were talking about. By the time everybody got done taking it, Don King walked into the hospital and handed him $15,000 or something like that, and said, "Here's your pay."
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
That's crazy.
That's how it works.
So early on in your career, then you ended up signing with Mike Varney and Shrapnel Records.
Mhm. Yeah.
Were you at that point in your career? I mean, were you trying to be like an Yngwie Steve Vai type, or was that what you were thinking?
Not at all. I did not want to be any kind of guitar hero or nothing like that. I had a band, and I was trying to do the band thing, and we had spoken in the late 80s about doing something. I was like, no, I'm going to stick with my band, and I'm going to keep doing the band thing, and I want to play songs with vocals and lyrics. I don't want to do guitar music. I did it for fun, but I wasn't looking to be that. And then when we signed the deal, we actually signed it. From what I understood, he was signing kind of my band and what I was doing with them. And then as soon as we signed, it was like, well, let's just put out a guitar instrumental album to start with. I was like, all right. And it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And after that, when I got out of it, did 2 albums with them, and they were good albums. I mean, I'm happy with the albums. I think that all things considered, they were pretty cool. They were good. I'm going to say it. Yep, I like them. And then I started my own thing. I was like, what, from now on, I don't want to be signed. I want to do this myself. I'm going to, start looking at this whole internet thing. I think there might be a future in it. And I contacted Derek Sivers at CD Baby. He was just working out of his, he had an apartment in Westchester and selling CDs out of there at the time. I was like, yeah, let's do this. In fact, I know a couple other acts I'm going to tell about this too. And next thing you know, 10 years later, it's pretty much just the number one way that independent artists get their music out.
Yeah, it's funny you actually mentioned that, because I just signed on with a gig, kind of like a gig internet site, and that's one of the big things they've been promoting is the CD Baby, saying, hey, if you got a CD and you want to sell it, you put it up here, and I just never even heard of it. And
CD Baby is the best thing that ever happened to musicians, and it's absolutely, if not CD Baby, something like it, but definitely CD Baby is, in my experience, the most on your side, trustable. It's everything that a band would want from a label, except for tour support and promo, which at this point there's other ways to get that. But as far as distribution, there's no better way. So I started doing that in the late 90s and contacted Amazon to open an account with them as a vendor to put all my CDs on Amazon and had everything on mp3.com, which was before there was iTunes and everything way back when. Audio Galaxy, what was going on back then? There were so many things. I had one computer in my basement that was just always logged on to Napster 24 hours a day, where I had songs that I considered singles. I had them available, plus recordings of live versions of my songs, and just anything that was either something I wanted to promote or something that wasn't on an album. And I just was using Napster as the way it should be used, which is something to promote, not not the enemy. Like the whole industry, the music business was looking at it like the enemy instead of embracing it and saying there's this whole new technology that we can connect to people with. So I was doing that until the labels destroyed it. And where did it get them? They made themselves the enemies of the people, and now they're kind of obsolete. You don't really need a label. You need Facebook, YouTube, CD Baby, and that's pretty much it. If you want to do concerts on Stage It, do live streaming concerts. If you need funding, ask your fans to help you out. Do like a pledge kind of thing.
Yeah, that's like the whole new thing now is people getting funded for whatever their projects are.
Yeah, and it's basically that's the best thing. It cuts out everybody. Now it's just about you and your fans.
How about
that? That's how it should be. It's a wonderful thing. It's what it should be. There's nobody in your way. Direct connection. It's great.
So, I mean, as the way that is now, I mean, you are loving the whole concept of that, where, say somebody wants to get into the music business now, and, back in the day, people would say, don't do it, or they would try to discourage you. Would you try to encourage somebody to pursue it and just do it all themselves just like that?
Yeah, I wouldn't. Nothing worthwhile is easy, and nothing is guaranteed, and
Sure.
Nothing is without its challenges, no matter what you want to do. If you want to accomplish anything, you're going to have a million obstacles and challenges that you have to overcome. That's life. That's how it is. As long as somebody's, you have to really love what you do enough to the point that it's worth it to go through all the massive fucking that you're going to get. I mean,
right.
You're going to have 10,000 elephant trunks shoved up your ass. If you still love making music more than you hate having 10,000 elephants blowing peanuts up your ass, then go for it.
There you
That's
go.
my advice.
Words of encouragement by Bumblefoot.
Yeah.
So, how did you end up getting hooked up with Guns N' Roses then?
How did that happen? That was, almost 10 years ago. We didn't stop doing any shows or anything until 2006, but it was, what was it, like July of 2004. So, 9 years ago. And Joe Satriani, they were looking for somebody for the band, and I was recommended to them. Like, try this guy. He's got a funny name. So then Chris Pittman reached out, sent me a funny email, and it was cool. And then management reached out and started talking to them and the producer of Chinese and started making plans, and things got derailed. And then a year and a half later, it's like, all right, we got a tour coming up. You want to try and make this happen? I was like, let's see. Got together in New York and just jammed 3 songs. And like, hey, want to do it again tomorrow night? It's like, oh, what songs? Like, this one, this one, this one. It's like, yeah, I know 'em. Got together, we jammed, did that 7 times, and hit the road for 3 months.
Wow.
It was very informal. It was extremely casual.
Wow.
It was like, so
now,
you in the band? I was like, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. Sure. All right, let's play. Let's do some shows. And yeah, guess I'm in.
What were your impressions of like Axl when you first met him?
I really didn't judge. I didn't go into it. You hear a lot of things, but what I found in life is that people always have the strongest opinions about the things they have the least experience with. Like
Sure.
the people that haven't hung out with him or met him or had interactions with him, dealings with him, usually have the strongest opinions. And that goes for anything. It's the same thing when I'm going on tour. I'm going to be playing somewhere, and a lot of people will reach out and say, don't go there, it's dangerous. And I'm like, look, more people get shot in Baltimore than there. Come on. And so, yeah. So I was just like, you know what? I'm going into this and I'm just clearing my head, and I'm just going to roll with it and let our experiences shape our relationship.
Now, were you a fan of Guns N' Roses back in the day?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I remember first hearing them, and, when Appetite came out, I remember it was like 3 in the morning. I'm just farting around on the couch, and MTV is on, and I saw the video of some spiky-haired, skinny dude getting off a bus or something like that. I don't remember. But, yeah, and I was like, wow, this is good. I was like, damn, it's got some depth to it. It's like you can hear different styles and the people that brought them in. You can hear the bluesy guitar and the rockabilly rhythm and the punky bass, and then this dude singing. What kind of voice is that? It's so different, and everything, and yeah, it's like it was cool. I remember the next day telling one of my friends, "Yo, I heard this band last night. I don't remember their name, but the video was like this," and it's like, "Oh yeah, I saw that too." And next thing you know, kaboom! There you go.
So now that you're like part of Guns N' Roses, you are a fan of the band, the classic version back in the day. Like, do you feel? I mean, naturally you do feel, but did you think there was really a need for 3 guitarists? I mean, it's such a rare thing to see in rock and roll, but it's become more common as the years have come on. But especially
which is funny because it was more common in the 70s.
Right.
There were a lot of bands.
And then it went away.
Yeah. And then for a while it was just 1 guitarist.
Right.
I mean, but then you could say, hey, do you really need 2 guitarists? Can't you just do it with 1? Why not just get 1 and a keyboardist with a keytar?
Yeah, right.
Who's going to bring back the keytar? Those things ruled.
Yeah,
That's it. I'm going out. I'm going to get myself a drummer, a bassist, and someone who plays with a keytar.
There you go. And put the CD out on CD Baby. Yeah, the Revenge of the Nerds. There you go.
Lambda, and Omega, Mu. Yep. Bring back the good stuff.
So what's it like now? You're part of Guns N' Roses, and you have to always hear people saying, "I want the original band. I want the original band." I mean, does it bother you?
Did they say that? I haven't really heard that. No. Really?
No? Come on now. Come on.
Well,
it's got to be a pain in the ass.
Not really.
No?
It's not. I mean, it comes with the gig. It's part of the history. It is part of the history of a band that's been around for over 25 years, and people are going to come and go. You know what? Honestly, I'm happy that people left the band and didn't die or get horribly ill or catch a disease or get in an accident where they're unable to play.
That's true. That's true.
Good. God bless them that they were able to, just make choices intact. And I know it's a weird way of looking at it, but, life tends to make you see a lot of different sides to things after a while. So, yeah, that happened. They left, they parted, and instead of just ending everything, it was like, all right, one by one, this one begat this one, and this one begat that one. And that's just what happens. And I am one of the begotten.
And how about when guys like Duff or Izzy, they come and join you guys on stage for a song here and there? What's that like to be able to play with them?
Oh, they're sweethearts. It's great. I mean, I love it because I know the fans are really happy. It's something unique and special for them that doesn't happen all the time. But they're cool dudes. Duff is a wonderful guy. Izzy, wonderful guy. We've spent a lot of time off stage hanging, and I think one of the most fun times, with Izzy, 2 things that always pop in my head is in 2006, we would always jam to Devil Went Down to Georgia backstage. He'd be playing the chorus, and I would do the little violin part. And we were always like, yeah, we got to do this on stage one of these days. And what else? One of the last times I saw him, I walked into the back room, and he was playing Green Manalishi from Priest. So I quickly just grabbed the guitar and started singing, and doing all that. And we ended up spending, I don't know how long, but we played every song, just jammed to, and sang every single song on Unleashed in the East.
That's awesome.
It was cool. Yeah.
Now,
and Duff,
how about,
I
was going to say, how about like when Axl pulls like one of his stunts where he doesn't show up to play and you guys are sitting around for like 2 hours waiting to go on stage? I mean, what do you guys think?
That hasn't happened in a long time.
No, it hasn't, but thankfully
it did for a long time, yeah. And that's a big, that's not something that I can ignore and pretend hasn't happened or didn't happen. I absolutely had the hardest time out of anybody in the band with that stuff, with late stuff. I'm always in touch with one very simple thing. You make music to make people happy. You put on a show, you entertain, whatever you want to call it, you do it to make people happy. And to be happy and to just share this great moment together. And anything that takes away from that or undoes that or creates the opposite of that is completely just anti why you're doing what you're doing. So if there are 20,000 people that are pissed off because we just left them, I mean, hell, if I have to wait 5 minutes longer in a doctor's office or in traffic or something like that, I'm starting to get annoyed. So imagine, if that's 5 minutes, imagine 2 hours. Yeah, I get it. I totally get it. And it's not like I don't care. It's just nothing I could do but that was something I had a very hard time with, and there's been times when I just walked off stage and just started throwing a fit on the side, and there's been, I had a really hard time with that, and I understand, and I know it's not just that, it's not just the waiting, it's the fact that if you're going to do that to someone that isn't expecting that, and they have a babysitter waiting, and the babysitter has to leave, or you have to be up in 4 hours for work, or whatever it is, or the buses are going to stop running soon, or whatever it is, it's like you didn't go out that night and buy those tickets and, do us the honor of having your presence there to sustain our existence so that we could completely fuck you and inconvenience you and put you in this position where, all right, my life is going to be really annoying and I have to choose between missing the show after waiting for it or seeing it, but it just, I've gotten so much resentment over that from people, and they have the right, they do, and I'm just happy that that's not happening anymore, and I'm really, really happy that, we've been going on time, close to on time, sometimes early, and I know the fans are very happy. The people that come to the show are much happier about that. There's always the fans that are like, nah, it's a rock concert. It should be 3 hours late.
That's
maybe for you, but not for the other 20,000 people.
That's what I say. Probably 20 years ago, people would be like, yeah, cool, rock and roll. That'd be totally awesome. But now it's like I think totally that where you're saying people got babysitters, they got work, they got this and that.
Yeah, everyone's got responsibilities. It's not, rent isn't what it was in the 70s.
Yeah,
people there's a lot more living hand to mouth, and you can't fuck with that. And I get it, and this is not, some kind of I'm not trying to bash Axl or anything. I get it, and I'm just glad that we've been doing better with that. I'm just real glad. Yeah.
Well, that's good. All right. Well, let's get off the Guns N' Roses stuff because there's other stuff I want to touch on. Lita Ford, you got to tour with Lita Ford.
Yeah. Oh, that was insane. Yeah.
Why was it insane?
Well, it was 2009. We were auditioning. I was Yeah, I was checked into a hotel in Burbank for 96 days while we were auditioning guitar players, and for Guns, that's when we got DJ.
Okay.
And then we were off for the summer. Remember, I was freaking out because I thought it was going to be a much shorter thing, and thought we were going to start touring in May, and it became June, and that became August, and that became October. And I was like, what the hell? It's like, I don't want to live my life in a rehearsal room. So we were off for the summer, and then I got a call. Lita called me from Sweden. She was still on the stage, and she's like, what are you doing for the next 10 years? Like, hard to say, but I'm free for the summer. What's going on? And she's like, I need a whole new band. I need to switch up my band. I was like, you sure you want to do that? You sure that's the right decision? Can I help fix anything? Or, and yeah, so it was me and my drummer, Dennis Leaflang. That is the Bumblefoot drummer. And he's on all my albums, and so I called him. I was like, hey, can you do this? He's like, yeah. It's like, how much time do we got? How many songs do we got to learn? 15. How much time do we got? 2 days. Okay. And then we went down to her house and went over stuff and auditioned some bass players, and we got Mr. P.J. Farley.
Oh, okay, Trickster.
Yep, he was in Trickster, Ra, whole bunch of stuff. Real talented guy, and then we hit the road and started playing some casinos in the U.S., and then we went out to Europe, and it was just such a funny tour. So many odd things, so much bizarre stuff, and just a lot of fun.
Does she do, like, I've never seen Lita in concert. Actually, I've only seen her perform with Queens right before they split up a couple years ago in Philly.
Yeah.
And she did 3 or 4 songs with them. But 2 tunes from back in the day I just freaking love, and still to this day they're always, whatever I have of hers, that's all I care about, and it's Dress to Kill and Gotta Let Go. Did you get to play them with her?
We did Gotta Let Go. We did that one.
Oh, you didn't do Dress to Kill?
Nah. Maybe we did
classics.
It once. I'm trying to remember. I think it might have been one of the choices, but we ended up not doing it. But yeah, we did Gotta Let Go. Did a lot of stuff.
Nice. Very nice. Okay, so that brings us now to modern day. You and Tony Harnell and the Wildflowers.
Yeah.
Incredible. I love it.
Well, thank you. I always wanted to be a wildflower.
How about that? That's a 70s name right there, the Wildflowers.
Yeah. It fits, it's he's got these 2 lovely ladies. They're the flowers. I'm not a flower. I'm a weed.
You're the wild. You're the weed.
I'm soil.
You're bumbleweed.
I'm a tree. So sometimes, and so yeah. So you got his wife on percussion, and she has a great voice as well. She's singing, and you have Cassandra Sotos on violin, electric violin, acoustic violin. She just shreds the hell out of it. She's great. And playing acoustic guitar, and it's a great thing. And Tony still has that amazing voice.
He is friggin' awesome. I was always a huge fan of him back in the day in TNT and all.
Totally.
And every time, like the new CD, if anybody doesn't have it, you have to get the Tony Harnell and the Wildflower CD. It's like the word that comes to mind when I listen to it. It's like angelic rock and roll.
Nice.
Acoustic, like
it's earthy
like
without
Tony
being too hippie-ish. It's
yeah. It's got that rock edge. You can hear like Tony's TNT influence from back in the day in it, and then you have the acoustic rock to it. It's really just friggin' amazing.
Nice. Well, cool.
And
yeah, we
just
did the
came out
video
yesterday.
too.
Yeah, he just put that out.
Yeah. So that was the song that me and Tony wrote together.
Now, will you guys get to write more songs together in the future, or?
I hope so. I'd like to. I want to do a lot more. Yeah. I just want to write.
Just want to write.
Yeah.
You know what I think you should do? And I was thinking about this earlier. And I saw you guys the 2 times this summer. And if anybody hasn't seen, whenever these guys perform, you have to go see them. Because it's not only is it a great, just fun acoustic rock show, but it's like a comedy show too.
Well,
because
that's my
Ron
fault.
Ron just is telling funny stories, cracking jokes, and the first time I saw you guys, you broke into the Bee Gees, and this past time I was hoping you were going to do it. You started doing the disco hit "I Will Survive."
Oh yeah, how did that come up? I was comparing it to something.
You know what? I actually have video of it. I didn't put it up on YouTube though. I didn't have it's like a 30-second clip. But I was like, oh my God, this is friggin' amazing. It just
was it that we were talking about? What song was it? Was it "Surrender" from was it Rainbow?
Yes.
And I was saying how the same chords as "I Will Survive."
Right. That's what it was. And then you started doing the 2 songs together.
It's pretty random, you know. So we're just up there, and it's as wacky as when we're just kind of hanging out, and seems silliness.
And something that people probably don't know is, I mean, you got an incredible voice too. Like, you'll sit there and you'll pull out some TNT songs, and you'll start hitting notes like Tony would hit. And the first time I saw you, I was like, holy shit, this dude can sing.
I try.
You try, but you pull it off.
I fail.
No, come on. It's good stuff. Good stuff. People got to go out and check it out. It's such a good time. Especially, I mean, the 2 times I went, I got to bring my whole family. And my young daughters got to hang out and see it, and it was an experience for everybody. Yeah.
Oh, fun stuff.
Fun stuff. Okay, the last thing I got to touch on, I mean, I can expand on other stuff, but we only have so much time. The world of hot sauce and Bumblefoot.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, do you make your own hot sauces? I mean, it's not like where you have these companies just throw a label and it's got your picture on it.
No, I had all these flavor ideas and things I had experimented with, and reached out to a friend, connected me to this company, K-Johns. My friend Brimstone. He's a wrestler, philanthropist. He has comic books.
Nice.
And so he's like, you gotta talk to these guys. I know you're into, hot sauce and stuff, and been wanting to do this for a while. So we started chatting, and then I flew out to them, and we just started playing in the kitchen and experimenting with berries. And they knew immediately. They're like, all right, to try this pepper with this one and this and that, and they really made it come together. But we did some experimenting, and I had some crazy ideas. Most of them worked, some of them didn't. But in the end, we had a line of 6 sauces, and it wasn't a case of them making sauce and slapping a label on. But then at the same time, it's not a case of where I couldn't have done it without them, So yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. I mean, I had seen for years the sauces, and I was like, I thought it was just that. But then, that first time you were King of Prussia, you pull out this pepper. I was like, this dude's serious. He's the real deal. And then as I'm doing my research, you're very proud of the fact that your Scoville units or whatever it is, and
it is an untapped thing. Well, actually, it's pretty tapped. There's a lot to it. It's 2 things that I am going to predict in the next 10 years you will see a lot more of. That is marijuana and hot peppers being used in medicine to help treat things and improve the quality of life. That's my prediction. Really? That they're going to find, not for recreational use, but for actual purposes of just making improving the quality of life of people that are sick or in pain. So yeah, there's a lot to capsaicin, the molecule. It has a lot of uses when it comes to everything from pain relief, from...
It also causes pain?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the thing. If it's used the right way, it relieves pain. It has those properties and can be used for that. It's good for mood enhancement. If you have depression, things like that, can help a little bit. So yeah,
interesting, very interesting. Yeah, I'm all about like hot sauces and stuff like that. My youngest daughter, she always makes fun of me. Daddy always got to put hot sauce on everything.
But it's good for the metabolism as well.
And the funny thing is, didn't you say you had that pepper still when you came back to King of Prussia?
I think it was a different one. Yeah, it was a different one from the same
one?
guy, though. It was from the same guy. Both of those shows, I had just come back from a hot sauce festival.
Yeah,
just
that's
coincidentally,
what you kept saying.
It worked out. Yeah, I was in Columbus, Ohio, at a hot sauce festival, and flew back and played in King of Prussia. Did the Tony show where we first met, and I was munching on this pepper that hasn't even been released to the public yet. It's the absolute hottest pepper on earth. And yeah, it was. So you got to know people. Got to know people in the pepper business. Got to have your connections.
Well, I'm going to have to order hot sauces now. So I'm going to order some of your hot sauces and try them.
Very cool, yeah.
So
try the Abnormal. If you like hot stuff, try Abnormal. It's got jalapeño peppers. It's got some heat to it, but it's not abrasive and uncomfortable. It's quality peppers in there. It has Caribbean jerk seasoning. It has tamarind. It goes great. I love it on steak, but
nice.
It's a good one. So I would try that one if you like hot stuff.
So we can go right to your website and order hot sauces?
You can. Yes, you can. It is possible.
Nice. So go to bumblefoot.com. And
then if you just click on store, and then it has everything from the digital store where I have songs and transcriptions with backing tracks and mixed stems and things like that. Or you click on the merch store, which has, shirts, CDs, hot sauces, little mini guitar things, picks, straps, all that kind of stuff. So
very cool. Very cool. Awesome. Well, there you go. Go to bumblefoot.com, order hot sauces, download music. You got to pay for it, though. You can also follow him on that. I'm going to get it right this time. Follow him on Twitter at Bumblefoot. You can like him on Facebook. Become a fan. He's the man.
So yeah,
Ron, before I let you go, I got to ask you to cut a quick ID for me, please.
Hell yeah.
Just say this is Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and you're listening to Totally Driven Radio.
Hello, this is Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and you're listening to Total Driven Radio.
That was close.
Close.
Totally Driven Radio.
That's what I said.
You said total. Like now I'm breaking your balls.
Fuck, man. Do you want me to say it again just for the hell of it?
Sure, why not?
All right. Hi. Okay, one more time. That was weird. Hey, everybody, this is Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and you are listening to Totally Driven Radio.
Bingo. Winning.
I did say
now you know
total.
I'm going to use that whole thing as a bumper.
Yeah, with the let me do a really fucked up one then. What's up, everybody? This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and you are listening to Totally Driven Radio. This is creepy.
But it's amusing, and that's all that counts. Ron, thanks so much. Thanks so much for sharing the stories and talking about everything. And when are you going on tour? I got 2 minutes. When is there any Guns N' Roses new music coming out soon? That's the question everybody wants to know.
I think Guns will be getting busier next year. This year, I am taking the time to do all kinds of solo stuff. I'm hitting Europe in October. I'll be doing shows from October 4th to the 19th. I'm going to be going to Indonesia and Malaysia in early November. I just might have something in South America, 1 or 2 things there in late November.
You have
and
a fan there.
I do.
Is like
one?
One fan, Yoha, I think the name is, if I'm pronouncing it right. And
Yoha Rivas.
Yes, they talk to me all the time. Love you to death. Which actually, I'm having somebody on here next week that you did stuff with, Pac from Mexico.
There you go. Okay, yeah,
there
produced the album. Yep, that was the drummer of Guns, and I did all the music.
Very cool. Okay, I'm at the 90-second warning, so I have to cut you loose before we get cut off.
All right.
Ron, thanks again so much. I'll be in touch.
You.
Take care. Good luck with everything. And I'm ordering hot sauces when we get off the phone.
Nice. Thanks so much. Hopefully I'll see you again real soon when we do
Absolutely.
So we'll do another show down there.
Cool. Looking forward to it.
All right. Have a great night. Thanks so much.
You too, man. Take care.
Bye-bye. Bye.